Okay guys, here's video number 2, kind of the two-part. I don't know if you can see it down in there, but that's the gear I printed. It's the second gear in the drivetrain. The first gear is the brass pinion that's on the motor, and then it drives this gear, which is part number 209, I believe, in the Grizzly catalog. It's towards the top of all of the parts on that page for the headstock. And what I thought was important on the first one, I didn't pay attention to this, but on this one, I kind of had everything back together a little bit. And so when I was able to install that second gear, the first one failed. I had all these screws just loose. It was all, they were all started, but so then when I put the gear on there, and then I rotated the motor and the mount down into position, and then I was able to engage the selector to make it drive, and then I was able to reach down here and turn the shaft to check the mesh, and I could tell that it was too tight, so I was able to move the motor plate a little bit, and I actually was able to just run it. I think I twisted it backwards a little bit, and then you could see this push the motor away just to loosen up the mesh a little bit, because I think it's pretty loose the way it is right now, which is okay. I think I had it way too tight initially because I just put it down there and bolted it on, and it was too tight. And so I think that was just putting too much pressure on that plastic gear. I've got the gear, a replacement gear, ordered from Grizzly. A stupid thing went from Missouri to Kansas. It's up in Minnesota now. I'm in central Iowa, so I don't know what the hell UPS is doing with my parts, but probably having a party up there celebrating send your parts around the country day. Anyhow, I think that's it. I thought the most important part here was to try to get the mesh just right. It'd be impossible to reach in there, but if I could, I would probably put a piece of paper in between the teeth to set the mesh to about the width of a piece of notebook paper. But I think loose is better in this case. Let me turn it on here and run it for you. It's really quiet when it's in neutral, so it's in neutral now. I'm going to run it that way first, then I'll stop it, then I'll put it in gear and you can hear it. So that's not quite full speed. I'll crank it up here. And I think it's very much quieter than the original gear, and that's probably because of the mesh. But so that's wide open. That's as fast as the motor will go. It has nothing to do with the selector. So now I'm going to put it into low gear, and that's going to be the easiest on that gear, I guess. Hard to do this one-handed. I'm rotating the shaft. There we go. And I turn the speed down about halfway and power it up. So now it's turning the fly cutter. I still got that in there from the testing. And now it's putting more pressure on that gear because it's turning that shaft, and it's also, you're hearing the noise from the rest of the gear train. So then that gear, the one I printed, is turning the shaft, and inside here then this is the selector that runs the fork that moves the dual gear up and down, which engages one of the two gears that's on the spindle, and then that's turning the spindle and the cutter. That's it. If you got questions, please post a question in the comments, and I'd be happy to try and answer it. See you next time.